Hey friends, it's me, Dan Phelps. Welcome to The Joy of Recording. This is my YouTube series that's all about the philosophy and technique of being a self-recording musician. This week I want to talk to you about an idea that I think is really helpful when you are the kind of person who hangs out in their home studio and records tracks from the ground up, playing almost everything yourself, like me. And that's the idea of having a musical vision for how your track is going to end up while you're in the beginning stages of working on it. I'm not advocating for having a complete, set in stone, concrete musical vision that you simply go about the process of executing, because one of my favorite parts of working and recording is discovery and happy accidents and things that you didn't anticipate, things that didn't just come simply from your will, uh, things that surprise you. This is the beautiful part of recording. However, through experience, I have learned that having a sort of mental image or a vision for where I want this track to go or where I think it's going helps me get to the end process and not have a disconnected bunch of overlapping, soggy sounding, conflicting overdubs and ideas in the mix. So, how does one achieve that? A lot of it is just experience and finding out things that work for you and creating a lot of music. You'll learn certain tips, tricks, and things that you rely on that are kind of part of your musical personality that you just know work. The other side of it is having some sort of, even if it's a foggy idea of where you're going, and continually updating that as you discover each new track. And the key is you want to be able to be fully present where your feet are with the track that you're recording at any given moment, whether that's a guitar part or a bass part or a vocal, and then step back from it afterwards and say, okay, well, where are we heading now? Has the destination changed at all? Does it look any different? And what do I want to do next? So as an example, I'm going to build up a track from scratch here fairly quickly. I'm starting with just a drum loop that was actually a part of last week's video. I've looped it and I'm going to create something out of this. So let's listen to the loop and see where we go from here. So we've got this earthy loop, one of my favorite adjectives for sounds that I like, earthy, vibey. And already I have the idea that I want to sort of build up a skeletal first verse kind of track. I'm going to start with one thing. Maybe it lives on one side of the mix. I'm kind of imagining that I've got this drum track and I've got a guitar track on one side for the verse. And then when the chorus drops, maybe that's when I'll add bass content and something to the other side of the mix. I'm already thinking towards how I'm going to create a sense of the mix opening up or growing as the song goes along. So let's search for that guitar part and see where we go next. So I've come up with a little guitar part, and I'm going to lay about 8 bars of a verse, 8 bars of a chorus, and then another 8 bars of verse number 2, let's say. We'll go from there. Okay, so that's good enough for our purposes here. I'm going to pan that track all the way over onto the left side. I'm kind of imagining a Daniel Lanois hard panned, drums up the middle, initial guitar on the left. Now, for the chorus, I want to add something that's going to come in on the right channel out of the right speaker to create a sense of width happening there. There's a really cool thing that happens when you sort of establish a vibe and a certain amount of size in a track, and people sort of get used to that. They sort of say, oh, well, this is the song that we're listening to, and this is the width. And you save something for the chorus or for the second verse that then kind of pulls the camera back, if you will, and spreads the mix out in a neat way. So let's look for a sound for the right side. Okay, I'm already digging that effect. And to reinforce that shift that happens in the chorus, I want to lay in some kind of low stereo sound. It's going to live underneath those two other guitars and the drums. I'm thinking kind of a lo-fi organ sample. Because I've already have that in mind, I'm also planning on bringing in the bass in verse 2. This is what I'm talking about. Already an arrangement is forming in my mind of where I want to go. Now, I might do the next overdub and decide to do something else, but I'm already thinking the first verse sound is pretty established with that guitar and the drums. And the chorus, this other guitar comes in on the other speaker, and we'll put some kind of low end in there. And then on the second verse, I want things to pick up a little bit with some bass and maybe another higher element that kind of says, hey, we're back here again, but we're progressing. We're moving forward in some way. So let me go on a little search for that organ sound that I'm imagining, and we'll see what we find. Okay, let's try this out. Let's try throwing bass on that last verse and see where it gets us. Cool. That's not the most amazing thing ever played or written, but I think it shows you the value of thinking ahead from where you are and then reacting to each new step along the way. I just threw this together in a few minutes, but even if you apply a little more intention and creativity to it, I think you'll find that this practice really serves you. In addition, be thinking about how the sounds that you're using and the frequencies that they take up or the space that they take up in the mix will work with other things down the road. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe below. Click that little bell icon and you'll be updated whenever I post new things. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to answer those. Just pop those in the comments below. Also, if you're just getting started with recording, I have a free PDF and checklist to help you get going. The link for that will be in the show notes. I'm always available at hello@danphelps.com, and you can also find me at danpmusic on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.